From a cheap daily jolt to a curated artisanal experience, coffee has undergone a silent revolution, sparking wars for your morning ritual and your wallet. For centuries, it was a simple commodity, a functional pick-me-up. Today, it's a global industry valued in the hundreds of billions, a symbol of status, and a battleground for brand loyalty. This isn't just a story about beans. It's a psychological saga, an economic transformation, and a testament to how deeply human desire shapes markets. How did this humble beverage ignite such fierce competition? How did it evolve through distinct waves, each reshaping consumer perception and the very structure of its global trade? And what does its tumultuous journey reveal about the hidden forces behind our everyday purchases? Our story begins in the mid-20th century, an era defined by convenience and mass production. This was the first wave of coffee. Think Folgers, Maxwell House, and instant coffee granules. After World War II, a booming middle class and a new focus on efficiency made coffee an indispensable part of the American breakfast table. The goal was simple: provide an affordable, consistent caffeine fix for the masses. Coffee was a commodity, bought and sold like wheat or oil. Brands competed primarily on price and accessibility. The consumer didn't ask where the beans came from or how they were roasted. They just wanted a reliable, inexpensive cup, available everywhere from their kitchen counter to the local diner. The entire supply chain was built for volume and low cost, often involving large-scale industrial farming and blending techniques that prioritized consistency over nuanced flavor. Quality was secondary to quantity, and the profit margins, while stable, reflected the commodity status of the product. But as generations changed, a subtle shift began to brew in consumer expectations, setting the stage for the next great transformation. As the century drew to a close, a new contender emerged, not just selling coffee, but an entire experience. This was the second wave, spearheaded by companies like Starbucks. In the 1980s, a visionary named Howard Schultz, inspired by the espresso bars of Italy, saw coffee not just as a drink, but as a ritual, a social experience, a third place between home and work. Starbucks didn't just offer coffee, it offered an escape, a personalized treat, an affordable luxury. The introduction of lattes, cappuccinos, and an array of customized drinks transformed the simple act of ordering coffee into a complex, personal choice. Suddenly, the barista became a skilled artisan, and the coffee shop a destination. This shift wasn't just about the menu, it was a masterclass in branding and consumer psychology, elevating coffee from a commodity to an aspirational product. But how did this experience model fundamentally alter the economic landscape of coffee? Starbucks' genius lay in its ability to offer an affordable luxury. For a few dollars more than a diner coffee, you could have a handcrafted beverage, a comfortable environment, and a sense of belonging. This premiumization strategy allowed for significantly higher profit margins than the first wave's commodity model. The supply chain began to adapt too. While still relying on large-scale sourcing, Starbucks started to emphasize ethical sourcing and farmer support initiatives like their CAFE practices, albeit on their own terms. Farmers, while still often price takers, saw a growing demand for specific qualities of beans that could meet the brand's standards. The psychological battle was won by associating coffee with indulgence, status, and community. The second wave proved that consumers would pay more, not just for the product, but for the story, the feeling, and the perception of quality. But this very success would soon breed its own rebellion, as some began to question the authenticity behind the mass-produced experience. Enter the third wave, a movement born from a desire for transparency, authenticity, and unparalleled quality. Emerging in the late 1990s and early 2000s, this wave was a direct counter-narrative to the mass-market success of the second wave. Proponents of third-wave coffee treated coffee with the reverence traditionally reserved for fine wine. The focus shifted dramatically from "where can I get coffee?" to "where did these specific beans come from and how were they processed?" Single-origin beans, direct trade relationships with farmers, meticulous roasting, and precise brewing methods became the new benchmarks. The goal was to highlight the inherent flavors of specific beans, often from a single farm or region, rather than blending them into a generic profile. It was an artisanal rebellion, championing craft over convenience and provenance over profit. But how did this hyper-focused approach reshape the very economics of coffee, from the farm gate to your cup? The third wave introduced a radical economic model: premiumization through scarcity and storytelling. Consumers were willing to pay significantly more for specialty beans, knowing their exact origin, the farmer's name, and the specific processing methods. This often involved direct trade, cutting out intermediaries and allowing farmers to command higher prices for their exceptional crops, fostering sustainable practices and better livelihoods. Roasters became educators, sharing the nuanced tasting notes and unique characteristics of each bean. The entire supply chain became more transparent, more ethical, and more focused on quality at every step. This wasn't just about a better cup, it was about a philosophical shift, valuing craftsmanship, ethical sourcing, and the intrinsic beauty of the coffee bean itself. It brought a new level of appreciation to the often overlooked labor behind coffee production. But as this wave gained momentum, it inevitably created new battle lines in the ongoing war for consumer loyalty. The evolution of coffee became a profound psychological battle for authenticity versus convenience, for social status versus everyday utility. The first wave offered utility, the second wave offered aspirational experience, the third wave offered discerning authenticity. Each wave tapped into different human desires: the need for efficiency, the yearning for connection and belonging, and the sophisticated pursuit of craft and unique identity. Brands had to choose their lane or attempt to straddle multiple. Was your coffee a badge of refined taste or just a quick fuel-up? The coffee snob caricature emerged, highlighting the perceived elitism of the third wave, while others defended the simple joy of a large, sweet, personalized drink. The market fractured, creating distinct segments of consumers, each with their own values and willingness to pay. This segmentation forced companies, big and small, to constantly innovate, not just in product, but in messaging and brand identity. But could these disparate worlds ever truly coexist? Or were the coffee wars destined to continue indefinitely? In recent years, the lines between these waves have blurred, leading to a complex, saturated market. Large second-wave giants like Starbucks have responded by introducing premium reserve lines, single-origin offerings, and elaborate brewing methods, attempting to capture the third wave's discerning customer base. Even first-wave brands have experimented with premium blends. Meanwhile, some third-wave roasters have scaled up, finding ways to make specialty coffee more accessible without compromising their core values. This cross-pollination highlights a crucial lesson in market dynamics. No single wave can entirely dominate. Consumer loyalty is multifaceted, driven by a blend of price, convenience, quality, and values. The challenge for any coffee business today is to navigate this intricate landscape, understanding that consumers often switch hats, demanding convenience on a Monday morning commute and artisanal craft on a relaxed weekend. The battleground has expanded, demanding adaptability and a nuanced understanding of increasingly sophisticated consumer demands. So, what does the future hold for coffee? The lessons from its past are clear. Constant evolution is inevitable. Sustainability is no longer a niche concern, but a critical imperative as climate change threatens coffee-growing regions and consumer awareness grows. Ethical sourcing, regenerative agriculture, and fair compensation for farmers will become central to brand identity and consumer choice. Technology, from AI-driven roasting to innovative brewing systems, will continue to refine the coffee experience. Emerging markets will create new demands and opportunities, pushing the industry to adapt culturally and economically. The coffee wars will persist, not as a fight for dominance by one wave, but as a continuous negotiation between convenience and craft, affordability and ethics, tradition and innovation. The industry's journey from a simple commodity to a luxury experience offers a powerful blueprint for any business seeking to understand market segmentation, premiumization, and the enduring power of consumer loyalty. From the utilitarian jolt of the first wave, through the experiential allure of the second, to the artisanal precision of the third, coffee's journey is a microcosm of modern consumerism. It's a story of how a simple agricultural product can be transformed, not just by processing, but by perception, by branding, and by a deep understanding of what people truly desire. The coffee wars were never really about the beans themselves. They were about the stories we tell ourselves, the identities we project, and the value we place on our daily rituals. And as long as humans seek connection, comfort, and a moment of pause in their day, the quest to perfect the morning cup and the battles to define what perfect means will undoubtedly continue. If you found this deep dive into the hidden history and psychology behind your morning cup insightful, consider subscribing for more stories behind the businesses that shape our world.